I'm Marty Cohn, and welcome to episode 30 of Rotary Cares, the monthly award-winning show that will tell you everything you wanted to know about Rotary International and more. Rotary is a global network of 1.2 million neighbors, friends, leaders, and problem solvers that come together to make lasting change in communities at home and abroad. Established over 110 years ago, Rotary now has 35,000 plus clubs all over the world. Rotary's motto is service above self, and Rotarians adhere to the four-way test, an official guide for Rotarians to use in their professional and personal relationships. The test has been translated into more than 100 languages. Of the things we think, say, or do, is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? In Brattleboro, there are two clubs, the Brattleboro Rotary Club that meets every Thursday and the Brattleboro Sunrise Rotary Club that meets every Wednesday. During COVID, both clubs meet via Zoom. Today, we will be discussing community service projects. Our guests are Windsor, Vermont Rotary Club President Mary Springer and Jaffrey-Rindge, New Hampshire Rotary Club Public Relations Chair Owen Houghton. Welcome, Mary.
Thank you, Marty. I'm pleased to be here today.
Well, thanks for coming on the show. So, Mary, how long have you been involved in Rotary?
My husband was District 7870 district governor a few years ago, and he's been a Rotarian for many, many years. And as his partner, I have been involved with Rotary during all those years. I formally have joined Rotary only recently in 2018.
Oh, okay. Well, so let me ask you, what made you take the plunge in 2018?
Well, I've done a lot of work with Rotary, gone to a lot of conferences, and I've been inspired by all the good that Rotary does around the world. I now have the time to devote to assisting in that mission. It's an organization that demonstrates my own personal values and beliefs. And it's a group of like-minded folks who want to do service above self, and those are the people I want to be with.
Okay, and not only that, not only did you join in 2018, but now you're president. Wow. All right. So Mary, let me ask you, when and where and how does the Windsor Vermont Rotary Club meet?
Well, Windsor Rotary meets at the Windsor Welcome Center every Monday at 12:15. Now, I say that is when and where we meet. However, as you know, times have changed since COVID-19. During the summer months, we met outside at the Windsor Recreational Field, and currently we are meeting on Zoom, maintaining safe practices for all. It's not easy, but it's been a giant learning curve for me working with the technology regularly.
As it is for all of us, Mary. So, community service is a big part of Rotary. Prior to COVID, so I want you to put on your, remember back 6, 7, 8 months ago, what were some of the community service projects in which the Windsor Vermont Rotary Club was involved?
Well, we've had quite a few projects. One of the things that I recall is the restoration of the bandstand and town benches. There was a community meal program that was going on, and every quarter we took over cooking and serving for 30, 40, 50 people. And let's see, we delivered dictionaries to young children at the 4 elementary schools that we're involved with. Let's see, what else did we do? Assisted with Thanksgiving baskets and Christmas projects, school projects, filling the backpacks, that kind of thing. And our latest project, which was kind of a fundraiser, but it was really a project for the entire town. And last year was our first year of doing this. We had the Autumn Moon Festival, where we shut down the streets. We had all kinds of food and arts and craft vendors. We had a special place for children to go to their bouncy house, ride trains, practice and learn about archery, all kinds of really neat projects and exhibits from bins and exhibits from other places as well. So that was a very, very, very successful community event that we really wanted to duplicate every year. But again, COVID has us strapped.
Yeah, well, let's segue to that for a second. So, unfortunately, COVID is here. How has that impacted your club? What kind of community service projects are you doing during COVID?
Well, I actually have been quite surprised at how many we've been doing. I didn't expect us to be able to do as many as we are, but we're still repairing and painting the town benches and putting them out around town. We applied for and got a district grant and then partnered with Miller Construction and some Rotary friends to build a storage shed for the town recreation department that was in need of one. We then purchased and erected large thank you signs to our essential workers for the hospital, medical personnel, COVID first responders, and essential businesses. We again got donations for backpacks for young kids, which we schlepped around and filled and helped deliver. Let's see, what else did we do? We purchased a grant, a COVID grant with the district and got 4 respirators for our ambulance personnel who didn't have any. We've raked leaves and toted bags of leaves off the Masonic Hall, which is a huge, big lawn and hill. We have are participating in the hospital's giving tree, writing cards to shut-ins around the town, sponsoring the Student of the Month in the high school and Windsor students at Hartford Vocational Center, still giving scholarships out. We are participating in what we have named the Principals Fund. Principals in our 4 schools actually take some of their own money and purchase things that the children need. So we are participating by helping to fund that effort.
Wow, this is an incredible list. Mary, let me just ask you, how many members do you have in your club?
We have 23 formal members. Sadly, we don't have that many that are doing all the work. People are very frightened of COVID, and we have a number of elderly people, but we have a cadre of about between 10 and 15 that do a lot of this work.
That is fantastic. I mean, with that number, look at, you're accomplishing so much in the community. That is just fantastic, Mary.
Thank you.
It's really, now let me ask you, here's my last question for you. And I want you to think about this one. What is the best thing for you about being a Rotarian?
Aside from the pride that I take in knowing that Rotary took the lead for the prevention of polio, providing pure water for the world, and other humanitarian efforts internationally, I would have to say the friendships I've made across many states. I would not have had that opportunity if I had not joined Rotary and attended a lot of their conferences. And there's just a great bunch of people out there. And so it's made me very proud to be a Rotarian.
Well, I can't thank you enough for not only being a Rotarian, but also for taking the time to be on the show. Thanks a lot, Mary Springer.
Thank you, Marty, for giving me this bragging right today.
Okay, well, we'll be right back with our guest, Owen Houghton, but first, this brief message from Rotary International, doing good in your community, doing good in the world. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Rotary Cares, the award-winning monthly show that demystifies Rotary International. Our guest is Owen Houghton, Public Relations Chair of the Jaffrey-Rindge, New Hampshire Rotary Club. Welcome, Owen.
Thank you, Marty. You probably didn't know it when you set this up, but I have a connection to Mary and to the Windsor Club that goes back to how long I've been involved in Rotary, which is basically from birth. My dad was the secretary of the Woodstock, Vermont Club with a perfect attendance over 38 years. So I've always been connected to Rotary. And very often I said, I'm never going to get caught with that attendance award. But here I am.
But Owen, let me ask you, so did your father bring you to Rotary Club meetings?
Absolutely. My early memories were not only meetings, but they used to run a big carnival. And I always helped him with the popcorn machine and everything from age 4, 5, 6 up. And in the question of his attendance record, which was quite a fetish, he always did makeup if he missed. If he was sick, he had to go. Where did he go? Windsor, Vermont for makeup. Hi, Mary.
That's great.
Isn't that
That's great. Yeah, that is. So let me ask you. So you had this from an early age. How many years ago did you become a Rotarian?
Having said I'd never get into it, I had a good friend, a local attorney, David Tower, who formed a charter membership in 2003. He's a golf partner, and I couldn't refuse his offer. So that's how long I've been involved with the Jaffrey and Rindge Rotary Club. We serve 2 communities.
And was it because he asked you to join that you decided to become a member?
Yeah, I broke down.
Okay, well, we're glad that you did, Owen.
And me too. Absolutely connections.
But by the way, Owen, so the Jaffrey-Rindge Rotary Club, where and when does it meet?
Well, interestingly enough, I'm a retired dean from Franklin Pierce University, and we often meet there in their meeting room near the cafeteria and get a really good break on the meal prices, and it's familiar territory to me, and the university has been extremely supportive of us. Matter of fact, the president right now is a former student of mine, and her husband is a member of Rotary.
As part of a disclaimer, I have to tell you that Kevin Yeager, who helps me do this show, is a former student of yours as well. And he wanted to, normally we'd be doing this in a studio and he would come out and be shaking your hand.
Okay.
Are you meeting at the university during COVID?
No, everything has, been different, and we have had mostly Zoom meetings, which, have worked out pretty well. Out of a 40-member club, we probably get 20 some odd members that come on every Thursday morning, 7:30. Now it's changed to 8 o'clock time. We have tried a couple of 6-foot distance meetings, and some people are not too interested in putting themselves at risk. So Zoom is the best answer right now.
Well, yeah, but at least as Rotarians, we're getting together.
Absolutely.
So as I was talking to Mary, community service is a big part of Rotary. Your club is involved in the Western New Hampshire Walk to End Alzheimer's Disease. What's that project all about?
Well, it's an annual thing. It comes out of Keene State, with a lot of different groups, from assisted living facilities to nonprofits investing in providing money for research. It turns out to be very personal for me. My wife was diagnosed with Alzheimer's in 2010. I was a caregiver for 6 years, and then she went into a local assisted living facility. And it turns out that 3 other members of our club also had spouses or family members with Alzheimer's. So they were an easy sell when I became the co-chair of the walk several different years ago. And so we always have made small contributions from our charitable giving to that. But this year it seemed particularly appropriate to do more. And one of our members had a wife in the county nursing home. And if he visited her, he either had to quarantine for 14 days or stay out. And so he decided to move into assisted living and miss meetings, of course. So we organized a convoy of members, 22 cars led by a motorcycle, went from Jaffrey up to Westmoreland and met by state troopers, and had a meeting outside a window where he and his wife appeared. And we did our whole thing with the flag raising, with invocation. We had a regular meeting outside. He loved it. We were just totally taken by the emotion of the occasion. And they donated all of their happy finds from a number of months of meetings to this. So we ended up giving over $2,000 to Alzheimer's for support. It was a real feel-good project.
No, it's and an important project.
Absolutely. The other projects that have been ongoing, even though there's been COVID, have included hunger food pantries. Both towns have food pantries that we've supported as much as possible. Both towns have Santa's House, which ends up with a lot of gifts to kids. We've provided recreation equipment to an after-school program, participated in community suppers with other nonprofits. That has come to a halt since the gathering requirements, but for the most part, we keep together, both from Zoom and little projects outdoors, like roadside cleanup. A couple of times during COVID, we've been able to get out and do that. So we're making the best of it, as everybody else is, I think.
So, okay, so Owen, last question for you. What's the best thing for you about being a Rotarian?
Well, I've always been very involved in community service stuff, so I think, like Mary said, being connected to the world is also a lot of it. We have an expert in our club who's Water for the World oriented by profession, and we have a program going in Nicaragua. There's a big grant request in working with the club in Leon down there for improvements of learning in the public schools. So a number of people have been down back and forth to Nicaragua, and we're hoping to make some significant improvements there. Besides international kids that come every year, we've got exchange students and that kind of thing. Personal relationships, the biggest single factor for me. I think right off the bat, I see these people every day in some way around town. That's one of the big purposes of Rotary, I think, is putting key community leaders together for the good of the community.
Owen, thanks for taking the time to be on the show.
Say hi to Kevin.
I'd like to thank our guests, Mary Springer and Owen. By the way, I usually give a shout out to Kevin Yeager for doing all the magic behind the cameras, and I look forward to the day that we can return to the BCTV studio. Speaking of BCTV, I'd like to thank them for recognizing us as the 2018 Nonprofit Member of the Year. And a special thank you to Brian Brashaw for helping us bring this show to you. If you have any questions, concerns, or ideas for the future topics, send them to info@brattleboro-rotaryclub.org. That's info@brattleboro-rotaryclub.org. I'm Marty Cohn. Thanks for watching.